Podcast. Welcome to the Almost Perfect Podcast, a celebration of fuck-ups, failures, and falling flat on your face. This is a podcast that believes you can learn from experience, but that experience doesn't have to be your own. Hi, I'm Perfect, and I'm a functional fuck-up. Let's learn from somebody else's mistakes. And today we are learning from Whan Zulu. Now, Whan is actually the first black South African to have a pro model skateboard, which was nearly 20 years ago. These days, he is a producer at Pitch Black Post and started out in editing when it comes to the film thing. Actually started out in presenting, but realized he hated being in front of the camera and preferred to be alone in the editing suite. And these days he's a bit more social and is getting stuff produced. So yeah, we spend quite a bit of time chatting about skating, and then the rest of the time chatting about film and the life lessons that both have imparted on Whan. Of course, I need to let you know that this podcast is brought to you by you, which means you can support it by going to patreon.com/almostperfect or by buying merch on almostperfect.co.za. Without further ado though, here comes the Almost Perfect Podcast with Whan Zulu. So how are you living, Whan?
I'm living good, man. I'm living good.
It seems like you're living good. Like I take it.
Living good. How you living?
I'm all right, man. It's been an up and down roller coaster for the last while, but this week a lot of stuff has been coming into place. So yeah, I'm feeling good. I'm also going to be going and visiting family next week, so I'm looking forward to all of that.
Hey, me too. I'm going up to KZN as well. See some family. It's going to be exciting.
So your family's this side. My family is up in Benoni, actually.
In Benoni?
Yeah, which is pretty close to where you grew up, right? You grew up in Boksburg.
Boksburg.
I read it correctly.
Yeah, grew up in Boksburg. So I was born in Boksburg at that hospital, Boksburg Hospital or something. That's what my mom says. So I'm going to take her word for it. I suppose she birthed me. And then I lived in Vosloorus till about 5 years old, and then moved to the Netherlands till about 9, and came back.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, then Joburg, then Petersburg, then back to Joburg, then Cape Town, then back to Joburg.
Damn, so you've lived in a lot of different places. What was with the moving when you were young, though? What was that about?
My dad moved with his work. He moved around a lot. I ended up being the carry bag that went with him everywhere. So there was 3 of us. There's my brother and my sister. It's me, my brother, my sister. And I usually ended up going with my dad. And he traveled a lot, man. So I went wherever he went. I went to like 10 schools in 12 years. Yeah.
Fuck, I've got a very, very different experience because I kind of stayed in the same place like most of my life. But I did go to boarding school for a bit, so that's kind of the extent. And I did bounce around from schools.
Exactly.
I was based in the same place, but
same place.
That was just I had behavioral problems. And
how was behavioral problems? Just say it. You was naughty.
Exactly. I didn't exactly get along with a lot of people and caused a lot of trouble. So yeah, I bounced around from a couple different schools before finishing through Damlin. But what was your experience like going through to like all these different schools? I assume having to make new friends and that. Was that why you got into skateboarding? And like, because that's the thing you can do on your own, but also you can actually like meet up with other people as well in different places and like connect.
So moving schools around, especially like cultural environments as well, it just taught me to have to adapt to people quite quickly and environments quite quickly.
Yeah.
And as well as because, I didn't know where I was going to be in the next year. So I struggled a lot with like, I don't know, how do you put it? Like team sports. Like I really struggled with team sports, like soccer or whatever. Like I didn't understand how to do it. So I think the things I gravitated to were things that I did by myself. And then, I think earlier days it was like squash and chess.
Nice.
So, because those it's you and the person next to you. So but the competition element as well, it's like, I don't want to like compete with some random person. So I ended up finding skateboarding through a friend of mine, Wesley, in Park Rand Primary in, in Boxburg. And he had a skateboard. And then he would like borrow me a skateboard every now and then. And then it just stuck, man. And I asked my parents for a skateboard on my birthday. And that was it. I think I was like 13 at the time. 13, yeah. On my first board at 13.
Nice. What kind of board was it?
It was a New Deal. A New
Oh,
Deal
yeah.
with green gull-wing trucks. I can't remember the wheels.
Wow.
Yeah, I think the wheels were like hand-me-downs or something like that. But it was a New Deal. Yeah, I remember it quite specifically. Actually. And America shoes, red America shoes.
Okay, so you started out on some decent kits. Like it wasn't
it
wasn't like those chipboard kind of boards with no top.
No. I was very lucky. My parents just like, hey, here's your birthday present. Oh shit, that's great. That's great. So yeah, it was dope. Then after that, it was just skating, man. Every single day for during the school weeks, which is where I started getting to behavioral problems. It was usually like 4 hours a day. Yeah, 4 to 6 hours a day, every single day.
I remember, similar kind of afternoons. Did you have like a local ledge?
I didn't have a local ledge, but I would skate down to either the Pick and Pay if I was skating by myself in Sunwood Park, or then skate down like with my friends Ray and Brad or whoever was skating like as a crew or whatever, and then go down to the spa in Else Park, and then we just skate. But it was pretty much every day.
Nice, yeah. I have very similar memories, except we had the ledge literally across the road from.
Oh, that's so nice.
Where I lived, and like all the neighborhood kids like would get together and we'd all hang out there in the afternoons. And some days we'd be friends, some days we'd be enemies. Like how it is when you're young and in your early teens. And it's definitely some of my fondest memories, although I was terrible. Like I skated for a long time and never really got the hang of it. Like I was one of those kids that was always there and always gave it a go, but like was intimidated by guys like you, I would assume.
I don't understand. No, that's weird. That's so weird. Like I was, man, we were all just chilled. I think the thing about it was like it never mattered, like for me, like what a person's skill level was, man. As long as we were all skating and having fun, that's all that ever mattered. I think this like being good thing, it was like something that I never really cared for. Even like turning pro, it was something that happened to me. It's something that I like worked towards. You know what I mean? It just was something that sort of happened. I always just skated with whoever. It was weird. Like I don't know. I just loved it so much. And that's it. I just do it.
What's funny is the guys who were actually like really good, like were pretty chilled. It was always the guys who were like just a bit better than you that were always like trying to stunt and always trying to like, give you shit for like not being able to do the same stuff they could.
Yeah. Or you got to do it like this, or you're not doing it right. Like I never had a taste for that thing, man. It's just unnecessary, totally unnecessary.
Yeah, it's the one. Yeah, the aspect of it, because I saw from the interview that you did with Blunt years ago, back, or nearly, it's 19 years, basically nearly 20 years ago.
Oh man, I'm a real grandpa.
I feel really old, and I'm like only 35, so like I can't imagine seeing the 2003 on Matters.
Yeah. I'm about to turn 38 in 3 days. 3 days.
Damn.
Yeah.
So wait, you were a pro when you were 18 then?
Yeah, I turned pro in high school. My matric.
Holy shit. I thought you were older. Like I thought you would have been like in your 20s, judging by that. That's fucking cool, man.
Yeah, I turned pro in school. I also wasn't like it was something that just happened. I keep telling you, like I was like, okay, cool. That's what we're doing.
How did the whole Viking thing come about? Like how did they approach you and everything?
Well, Don was like a really good friend, like a really, really good friend of mine. Still is to this day. He's like, and he had the vision and the dream, like, yo, we're gonna start a pro team. Like, there's enough skaters in South Africa that are good enough. And I think it was coming off the heels of his trip in Australia and seeing how the Australian community had like adopted skateboarding as their own, with their own brands, with their own everything. So I think his vision was trying to like make the same thing here locally, because was always this perception where we looked at American pros as the only version of pro there is, where in European countries, in England, there were pros everywhere. Like they had their own pros. So I think that was his vision. And at the time, I was getting, like a lot of pictures here, little videos and skate videos and stuff. So he thought it would be cool to be part of the team, and that was amazing. It was cool. It was like skating with someone I looked up to quite a bit, and he always had like skateboarding at like the forefront of whatever he was doing. So yeah, man, it just sort of happened there, and invited me to be on the team and have a pro model, and I was like, cool. That's it.
Just that simple.
Like it wasn't any more complicated than that. I was just like, cool. I get like free boards. Okay, cool. I'm down. Like I had
as a teenager, that is the best.
Yeah, that is the best. Like I was going through like 2 or 3 boards at a time. That around that time. So I had a shop sponsor with Sport and Surf, which one was Sport and Surf. Yeah, and obviously if I'm going through 2-3 boards a month and a shop sponsor, they're not too happy. So I was like, cool, free boards, I'm down. Let's do it. So yeah, it just happened like that, man. It was totally organic, totally natural. I just don't think at the time I was expecting it to be as public as it was. I just thought it was a thing to do, but then it got really got a lot bigger than I thought it would. I think a lot bigger than he thought it would as well.
Yeah, Viking actually kind of paved the way for like your familiars and your KFDs, and like the long-term effects of like what that started is actually really fucking cool. And like, you being like, at the beginning of it must have also like, what were you guys thinking like as a team, like when you were going on tour and stuff like that? What was the vibe? Was it like living the dream of like what you see in the American skate videos and stuff like that? Because like tour videos are like legendary and part of why I think anyone wants to be a pro skater.
Yeah, because it's about the debauchery. I'm not going to say it wasn't debaucherous. It definitely was. One of our team members was also like a pretty like straight guy, like pretty, disciplined and stuff. Rob D was a very straightforward guy, and he got the nickname of not so party Rob because of the shit we were getting onto that he didn't agree with. So the tour was really, really cool, man. Like it was like going on a skate war with your best friends. It was amazing. I wouldn't say it was the same hype. We gotta, obviously catch on shit, but it was a lot of fun. It was just so much fun. I couldn't regret not a moment of it. It was amazing. Yeah, it was fun. It was a lot of fun. But I can't say exactly what happened in there. But that's a Las Vegas story, actually. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, you've got a professional life now.
Yeah. People can't know that about me.
So, how did it feel to have your face on a board? Like, what was that? Did you feel good or did you feel awkward?
It was weird because, like, the picture we took that got silhouetted out. I think we took it in like Donovan's kitchen, like those stencils. So we took them like whatever those like illustrated things were based on a photo. I think they just traced them.
Yeah,
we literally like there was a camera. And then Rowan took the pictures. I think Rowan was like the guy that took most of the photos. Luke Wilmont as well. Rowan Trollope and Luke Wilmont. But Rowan just took the pictures in the kitchen, and then Larry was Donovan's girlfriend. She just like made illustrations, and then our faces were on a board. They arrived from the warehouse. I took some, and they sold some. that was pretty much it. Like,
did you stare at it for a while, or what?
No,
what was that situation like?
There was no sense of like a moment of speaking to God and some sort of anything. Like I was just like, oh, cool, that's me on the board. Like I think I was just too young to care. Even now, I don't even have like one of those boards. I never.
No ways.
Swear to God, I don't have none of those boards. Like, and it's not something that like I miss. People keep telling me, how can you not have a copy? Do you want to hunt one down or
I
reprint?
mean,
I'm
but
like,
it
nah.
happened. You know, it happened. Everyone knows it happened. So like,
Yeah,
you don't need
but
it.
I think outside of myself, other people think it was bigger to me than what it was to me. I was just happy to skate, be able to skate and have as many boards as I needed because I was a big dude. So I was breaking a lot of boards. So that was primarily all I cared about. I just loved skating. It's the thing I did
Well, how
best.
did you feel about the racial element of it being tagged onto it? You know, you being the first black pro skater, because, you know, I can imagine there's a responsibility to that, but also
Yeah.
maybe not something that you necessarily wanted to have to go through. So I don't know. Like, I'm wondering, what was that whole
Well,
experience like?
well, it was a thing. I think the only side of it that I felt, didn't have the same weight is that I was the youngest. Like that was the side that was missed for me. But at the same time, in that political climate, about what is it, 8 years from freedom, or
Yeah,
9 or whatever.
literally, not even a decade.
Literally 8 years, 9 years from freedom. I did understand that there was a responsibility to it as well, because I was kind enough to have a father who was very principled and understood kind of what was happening around me and to me at the time. He guided me and made me sure that I didn't misrepresent what it was that I am, of color.
Sure.
And I am in now, like, on the front of magazines and stuff. He did explain, like, there is a responsibility to it. If this is the weight of it, you're being the first in something. So be careful of, like, how you represent yourself out there. So I made it like a thing. Like, if any kid wanted a signature or something, I signed it. Like, if any kid came up to me and talked to me, I talked to them. Like, I made sure that I tried my absolute to not have any sort of, like, sense of air or arrogance or whatever, like, or that I'm too cool to talk to you kind of vibe, man. There was a little bit of that vibe going around at the time. If you were in a particular clique, then you only talk to those people. So
Yeah, I
it's like,
remember once
that
guys
thing.
got like signed or like, you know, like had like a sponsor or something like that. You know,
Yeah,
once they got a shoe deal, you know, the
yeah.
headphones went in and then like, you know, they skated at the beachfront skate park in Durban and just like
Mm,
didn't fucking talk to anyone and like were just
yeah.
like too cool except for the other people who were like them, you know?
We're in
And then you
that
would
cloak, yeah.
yeah, it was the like, and it was so weird to see that change in certain people because there was a period where like SA skating became full of like arrogant assholes, at least in Durban.
Bro, bro, bro. It was just like, I was just like crazy. And you knew that, or at least you can feel it, like, you have a sense of understanding what's going on and energies and stuff. You always have it. You just may not have a full comprehension of it. Because of the position I was in, I also kind of felt like, certain people spoke to me because they kind of had to. But there
Oh
was
wow,
like,
okay.
yeah, there was a sense, a lot of it had a sense of, like, I'm too cool to talk to you. I'm too cool. And I would see the way guys would talk to kids, or cuss them out at the park for getting in the way. And it's just like,
Yep.
man, that's not how you do it, bro. Like, that's not how you do it. It's not. So I remember those times, like I was lucky, like I said, my dad, told me, be responsible. Like, you don't know how much it's going to bite you later if you're irresponsible at the time. You think you're too cool for school or whatever the fuck. He had some
Yeah, and
expression that I remember.
skateboarding is a thing that does allow for that because it's such an individualistic sport that like
Yeah,
you can like become a bit like more closed off to the people around you
yeah,
and less like doing it for other people essentially. Whereas for you, I assume it did become about doing it for other people.
yeah. Not just like it was for myself, but I was responsible to other people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there was that, and then it's so weird, bro. Like, the skateboarding community is like most of where all of my friends, like, Brad is my best friend. I've known him since I was like 14, I think. 14
Brad,
from there.
aka the cut.
Brad, aka the cut. we've been friends since like 14. Him and Ray, best friends, man, since then. So it's 24 years, and there's never been a point in time where I was like too cool for Brad. Like I was like, no, like it's weird.
Well, I mean, he is a
It's weird.
DMC champion, so I think he might be.
But still, it's weird. It's weird. It would be weird. I just hope that, I think the climate and the culture is much better now. And also skateboarders, you get this wide array of human beings, bro. Like the widest array of human beings you could possibly ever find. And all of them have their own perspective of the world, their own skate style, their own way of thinking, their own principles, their own perspectives. And the skateboarding was the thing that brought everyone together. It didn't matter whether you were from Piet Pompey's Fontaine or whether you were from Durban or Cape Town or whatever. Like, if we're all skating together, everybody's friends. So I think in that way, I found a way to have my individualness, but at the same time come together with a mixed bag of the most interesting people ever,
Yeah, I definitely do know, because I also think the skate scene evolved a bit as it got a bit more professional, as there weren't just a handful of people who were, pros essentially. Once things grew and evolved and it became a bit more normalized, I think the skaters in general became a bit more chilled and less egotistical. Because I look at your cats like your Jan Horowitzes and that now, and fucking what a rad cat. And I've partied with that dude and the Adidas team and in Durban, and they're the fucking raddest, most welcoming, most accepting people. And that's not always what skateboarding was in South Africa, but it has been cool to see it grow into this wonderful fucking scene and personally, dude, I live on Davenport Road in Glenwood in Durban, and I see so many different kinds of cats skating down the road these days. It fucking stokes me out so much because it's like you say, everyone's got their own style, their own vibe. It's no longer just your three different, either your pants were baggy, you were wearing shorts, or you were wearing skinnies. That was
You're a hip hopper, you're a punk rocker, or you're a surfer type. Those were the three things that you had. Back then. Now you can be whatever. Shit, show up at a skate park in an Armani suit. Fuck, do your thing, bro. No one gives a shit. It'll probably be rad, actually. To see some shit like that, Birdhouse vibe. But that's I think culturally as well, because of how the world has moved, everybody's a little bit more accepting of people's differences, as opposed to trying to define yourself by a culture. You take parts of each culture that you like, and skateboarding is one of those platforms where it's yo, man, everybody can do it. And anybody can roll up in a park. Someone's going to say, hey, what's up? You can shake some random dude's hand. It's probably one of the places where a human being can feel the most safe is around skaters. Even though we've classically been perceived as these deviants of fucking society,
I mean, we are.
We are. But, we're not that bad. But, yeah, man, it's just beautiful how it's grown and how everybody's so accepting. I go to the Edenvale Park, and when I do, bro, everybody's welcoming, bro. Everybody's welcoming. Everybody's welcoming. And now it's even crossed now what do we call it? We call it a sport now. It's in the Olympics. So now it's crossed sports. Skaters used to then have their own thing, and then it'd be beef with rollerbladers.
And BMXers.
And then I remember that. I'm why are you guys mad? I don't understand. I get it. Okay, BMX guys it can be dangerous. I get that part. But the dude just showed up on a bicycle, and now you're beefing with him. You don't even know the dude. So that's also gone away, and that's been beautiful to see, where you see skaters and BMXers standing next to each other, and everybody's having a good time.
Yeah,
whereas back then,
quite brave.
The same.
Hey? Yeah, you used to have to be quite brave to be a rollerblader back in the day.
If you're rollerblading back in the day, that's your life.
No, those are honestly some of the like those people can deal with anything. I think
Yeah,
because
yeah,
like
yeah,
if you kept coming back to the skate park wearing rollerblades after the amount of shit that you would get, like you become a superhero. Like you can deal with anything this world will throw
anything.
at you.
Probably most of the millionaires out there are probably rollerbladers.
Exactly. Cats probably came and rollerbladed, went home, wrote some code, and like yeah, are now like fucking Bitcoin millionaires.
Yeah, I can do this. I can do anything. Yeah, it's true. But now, like everybody's cool, man. Everybody's cool. So that's a part of it that I really, really, really enjoy. That like everybody's come together on it, and like cool with each other, and like people are much more accepting. There isn't this like clickiness to it.
That is dope. I assume you
Yeah.
skate ball a bit more than you did when you were younger.
No, actually, I still skate
No.
street. Yeah,
What?
like
How do your
terribly,
knees
but
handle it?
they handle it. Like I have to like my left ankle. I have to strap up like pretty hardcore.
Okay.
Yeah, but I found a way to make like my kickflips pretty tidy from it. Like yeah,
Okay.
twinkle toes kind of kickflips. But yeah, man, I still skate street. I still go to parks. I skate street. I don't do that bowl thing. I'm not giving up. I'm not giving up. No, because it's never like transition was. Oh man, was never my thing, bro. I never liked like transition. It was never my thing at all. I didn't like it. I didn't get it. Like we just go back and forward over time. So I don't know, man. If I turn into that guy, I think maybe in another 5 years. When properly the doctor's like, yo, that's enough. Then okay, cool. Well, then I'll do that.
Yeah, that's been the thing. Like I just remember as guys got older, you just saw them like the ledges getting smaller and smaller until eventually they were boulders.
Yeah, they were balls. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. So I'm not giving up yet. Like my knees can still take. It's not so much my knees actually.
It's your
It's more
ankles.
like it's the ankle, the left ankle in particular. Like it's more the ankle and then
Your back.
stretching. No,
Yeah.
back fine. Everything else is fine. It's stretching. It's stretching. If I don't stretch for like 10 minutes beforehand, and then also stretch, and then I have to warm up for like a solid 15 minutes. So the first 30 minutes of my skate is just getting my body ready to skate.
But you probably should have been doing that when you're younger
When I
anyway.
was young,
So
exactly. So there's that, and then obviously smoker's lungs. So you have to sit down every 20, 30 minutes, and then yeah,
shit,
that's
your
it. Really.
smoker's lungs are better than mine. It's like
I'll
every
test
five
that
ten.
out. Dude, it's horrible, and you're gonna kick this butt for real. But yeah, I still
Yeah,
skate, man. I still love it, still love it, still love it.
that's dope. Well, I guess we can talk about your professional life these days. And you were
Yeah,
telling me, like when we were chatting on WhatsApp, that like the two are kind of related. So how did
yeah,
skating like lead you into film? Because I'm assuming because of all the filming of skating, you're a part of the vibe, and that would
yeah.
have given you some sort of interest in that side of things. So
It
yeah, what's the
was
story?
it was a fluke. It was a total fluke, but I love it. So there was a TV show called Skatopia
Oh
where I
yeah.
presented. Yeah, it was on Zoraida Jardine's show on before it was Vuzu, it was GoTV. Damn, I'm showing my age. Anyways, so on this show, then they'd asked me to present the show. A friend of mine, Ludi, actually, was the one who put me on. So then we went back to the offices, which was in a refinery in Cape Town. I don't know if it's the same place still, but yeah, it's there. And then his edit suite was there, and he was dumping DV tapes from the day's take. And so I was like, "What is this? Like, what are you doing?" And he's like, "No, this is the editing part." So now I'm like putting the tapes in so that I can put them onto the computer and edit them. I was like, so I'm like, cool, show me. And then that was it, bro. That was it. Like after that, and I think it comes off the heels of like I started. It's also the thing where I had a people problem, this team
Okay.
sports thing. I started like coding Q Basic when I was like 10 years old.
Oh wow.
On my dad's like laptop that he didn't use. So I started coding Q Basic when I was like 10. So I was always into computers. And then I tried IT at CTI, and it felt like I was going backwards. So I dropped out of that. I was like, this is not for me. And everybody was scary. It's like, like
A lot of metalheads.
scary. Yeah. So I was like, I don't think this is for me. Like,
I know,
so I was like,
I know the type. I know the type.
yeah. I was like, no, this is scary. Okay, cool. I don't like this attendance. So dropped out of that after like 6 months. Parents not too pleased, obviously. And then I just carried on with skateboarding, skateboarding, bartending. I was doing a lot of stuff actually back then. So then the show thing happened. And then obviously because it was computers, but at the same time, it's visual. So I'm like, ooh, this is cool. And then that's it. Like I was hooked. I was like done. I was hooked. Like I was just hooked.
What made you interested in the behind the scenes stuff though? Because like you were you were in front of the camera, and even as a skater, you were the star. So like, yeah.
I never liked it. Let me tell you. I never liked it. Anybody who ever shot with me would tell you that I never liked it. Even in the presenting thing, I eventually stopped and just went behind the scenes. Like I never liked the spotlight. I never really did. Like it's something that happened and I knew that I had to do, but it wasn't something that I embellished or liked. It wasn't like if we were skating and someone was shooting, then we were shooting. If I had to do an ad, then I had to do an ad. Like, it
but
was
you
never
weren't
something
like just
where
bringing the camera all the time.
No, bro. Like that happens like every day now. Like everybody's getting clips every day. Like then it was just like, oh, if there's a camera around and people are shooting, someone would be like, hey, can you do something? And then you do something, and then that's it. Like I was never the guy like calling a photographer or a videographer like, hey, are we shooting today? Are we doing this? Or whatever. Like I was never that guy. So for me, it was just like, as long as I'm skating, I'm cool. Even competing, bro, oh my God. Hated comps, bro.
Skate comps are the dumbest thing ever.
Oh like, my God, they don't make sense.
It doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense. I remember the last one I did, I came second, but I looked at my run and I was like, I just did this run just to say I had a run. But like the rules, but because the rules are set up the way they are, I did a run and I didn't bail on the run. So that made my points really high. So I'm like, so I did 2 runs where I didn't bail and then the final, and then I didn't bail on. So it was just 3 runs, very similar, slight tweaks like here and there, a little bit of risk. But then I ended up coming second in this big comp. And then I was like, dude, that makes no sense to me. Like the guy that's like, fucking Christy, who's doing like nose blunting down a rail, like a 10-stair rail, that should be winning shit. Like,
100%. That's why
what I mean?
Like demos were always way cooler than fucking.
Yeah, demos. I love demos. Okay, demos I did love. Demos I loved demos. Demos because it was a high pressure, but not like
if you fail, you fail.
Any consequence. No consequence, but high pressure, like you're representing the brand and your team, and you got to make them look good.
You just want to fucking land something big.
You just want to do dope shit, so make people be cool. That's demos were dope. Love demos. But comps, not my thing. Anyways, I'm what do you call this thing? Digress, that's it.
Digressing.
So that led into the other, and then it was visual and it was computers. So I love computers and I love the visual side of it. And then the fact that you could make it into whatever you want, and it's just you making this thing into whatever you want. So that fed into my individualism a lot. Obviously, you have people who have their opinions. The director's going to want this and that and the other. But being able to create on your own, that was I think the big selling point that it tied into to creative. And then I apprenticed. Was it Ad Astra, Trevor, and Liddy. Apprenticed with them for like 2 years. And then I took a gap, and then I came to Joburg, and then things just popped off from there.
What do you mean things just popped off from there? Like, how did you get work and stuff? What did you work on? Like, what were the early days like?
It wasn't actually that difficult. Like, I got here, and in a month I was working at a company called Tox Media doing like religious television shows, but for like
Okay.
SABC. And then that was for about a year. Then I started freelancing, and then I never stopped really freelancing for the longest time. Like I did a lot of permalancer contracts, but never really had like another job. And then I just progressed, man, because I treated it the same way I treated skateboarding. I was in love with it. So I would end up teaching myself stuff. Like I'd get home at like 7 and then eat and then get on my laptop and then just find training videos and like do training videos literally till I fall asleep. I did that for like 3 or 4 years, like straight. And then I started
Did
doing
you get
things
the
where I was
same
like,
joy out of it?
yeah, I did. I actually did. I actually really did. Making something cool was dope. But the skateboarding will always be my first love because whenever I do that, I actually just, it gives me more energy than it takes. Like I feel like creating, like for me, like takes a lot of energy. I'm
Sure.
very happy with the result, but it requires a lot from your brain. But I'm always happy at the end of it. But with skating, like I would feel more energized. Like it kind of like healed me or fixed me or whatever. Like I would feel better after doing it. I still do. And then, yeah, man. And then eventually I was starting to do like bigger gigs, being responsible, like as a head editor, like, Coke Studio Africa, Top Chef South Africa. Like I worked in a few like short form promo places where they did like promos for Mnet, all the multi-choice stuff.
Okay.
And then I figured I'd start Pitch Black, and I did.
When was that?
Well, Pitch Black was always like an idea that I'd had that I sort of ran as a freelancer for like 10 years now. It's 10 years old now. Like the idea, like the business itself, it's like 10 years old. But I only fully formalized it into like an office with like people and things. Like
before it was just you at home.
Yeah, with people and things.
I know the vibe.
Yeah.
I'm hoping one day for Almost Perfect Media to be the same thing.
Yeah. Dude, let me tell you, just keep going, bro. Like, keep going. Like, no matter what, like, just keep going. Like, it doesn't matter how good or how bad things get, just keep going, bro. Like, I think that's what I realized later. Like, I used to get very discouraged and then stop.
Yeah.
Which is, you know what I mean? Like, you get discouraged and stop. And it wasn't that the idea was bad. It was just like you go through difficult times. Like, or, life hits you, or, fucking break up with a girlfriend. I don't know, shit that happens.
Yeah.
Then your work suffers for it, or you feel discouraged by this thing that you want to do. And you just got to keep doing it no matter what. Like, no matter what. And it's not like I hadn't tried the office thing before. I tried it twice before. I failed twice.
And
and it didn't work out those times. I think I just didn't know enough about trying to run a business. And I don't think I wanted to go through the things that it takes to run a business. I thought like if I like make an office and I just do cool work, that's going to make the business work.
Bro, I relate so hard. I had a project called Durban Is Yours, like when I was younger, that like was pretty like successful in terms of reach and like people read it and like, yeah, like it was a thing for a while, but like the business side of it was just like something I neglected hard. And so, eventually just, that's why I moved on to this, like, cause it was just like, yo, I don't want to be managing like a whole team and trying to bring in fucking ad revenue and this and that and having to pay all these different people. I mean, I do eventually, but yeah, I was like, let me bring it back into just me for a bit.
Yeah. And that's good. Dude, that is good. Like, it's like the best thing you can do. Like, like when I did the thing and I realized, I think the last time that I had no business acumen whatsoever to do this. Like on the second try. So this is the third try, but this is at a much larger scale, I think, than the first two. And I also was mitigating that risk. I didn't want to go too big too quick.
Sure.
And that's also your own process, dude. That's the one thing that you cannot negate. Like whatever your process is, like work at your own process, bro. Like whatever, like however long your process is, whatever it is, like however you think it should go, like your process and what you need to learn in the process, like, dude, use your own pace. Don't like use your own pace. Anyway, so like it's like you have to consciously be aware of the fact that one, you're never really ready, but two, do you have the commitment to do it anyways? Like, like come like
That's the big
hella high water, like come hella high water, fucking cops on your door or fucking what else? Like I don't know, like bad business deal, whatever the fuck it is. Like you gotta have like commitment to push through all of that, like all of it. Like, and that's the sucky side of it. But the way you learn how to like run a business, and once you have that kind of commitment, those things that happen to you, they fucking teach you, man. And I've stepped away as well quite a bit from like actually cutting.
Okay, editing, yeah.
That for a while, yeah. So now I'm on like a more producer side of things, which now also I'm starting to fall in love with as well. I'm like starting to like find my feet with it, and I'm getting more and more information about how to do things and like work with people, times and schedule. Now I'm falling in love with that side of it. So I think it's like it's like I've gone through so many phases of falling in love with whatever I'm doing. You just get better at falling in love with what you're doing. I don't know if that makes any sense. It's sort of like, finding your wife. I guess some people are lucky, first time around, high school sweetheart, and then boom, that's it. Some of us aren't that fortunate, but the fortunate part about it is that you're also like, sure, you're not feeling like you've missed out on some like version of a girl in your head or version of work that, you think should have been a better path. I think if you fail at it enough times, you know that you're committed to that thing no matter what.
Yeah, 100%.
I fucked it up so many times, but I learned. No, I don't know. I'm sure. Sorry, you were saying.
No, this is great, man, because this is exactly what the podcast is about. It's about learning from, mistakes, because that's the one thing I want to get across to people with this, is that nobody came from, nowhere, essentially. Everyone took hard knocks to get wherever they are. Like where they are is, like fucking I don't know, like with Lisa Gola live at the Apollo and stuff like that, or it's with other people who just, released their first album. It's still like there's so much to learn, and every single person, like, because that's unless you are born to like rich famous parents, you're just not going to have the same like success as them. Like it's just not possible. Like if you don't have tons of money behind you, if you don't have tons of resources, it's going to be a struggle. But that struggle is the point. Like it's what teaches you.
It's like it's the ultimate guru, bro. Strife is the ultimate guru, man. Like it's the best thing that could ever happen to you. Like it's wonderful and beautiful and dark and painful all at the same time. It's like it's I think of the person I was before I scaled out this big. It's not even remotely the same human being. Like in a lot of ways,
I can imagine.
I never thought I could be this disciplined in my whole life. I didn't know that I could deal with the type of situations that I deal with on a daily basis, and I didn't know that I could, because of how skateboarding was for me, how that was my own thing, how cutting was like it's my own world and my own thing. I think the hardest part that for me, like getting to this point, at least, it's no measure of any grand success, but it's just a little bit of a better place than I was before. I think what I learned is that there are good people out there that you can trust that also might understand what vision you have and invest in it and give their time and love to a thing that you love as well, I didn't understand. I didn't think that was possible. I really didn't. Like that part for me was difficult to understand, because I've been doing everything on my own for so long, and to have people that support you and care for you as if they were your family. My staff, I can't even call them my staff, my family. Brad, Tabi, Les, all of them, like the new one, Dimpo, and Tiki. Like this, like I got family, man. Sims, Karabo, all of them. Like these people are, they're not born from me. Some of them I've known for not nearly as long as I've known some people who shied away from what I'm doing because it doesn't fall in line with what they like. And finding that in people, like it really changed a big part of me. It made me responsible, like seeing the beauty of other people and how much they can give of themselves to something you believe in so freely. It changed me a lot. It made me more responsible because I was hella irresponsible on my own. Like, but I like seeing them motivated me to be more responsible, more leader and stuff. But
I mean, I guess it's also a necessity now because like you are responsible for their livelihoods, for like it's not just your own food like that you're putting on the table anymore.
Yep. And that is a heavy cross to bear. So if you don't love what you're doing, if you don't care for it, the minute that shit gets stressful, you're gonna give up. Like you're just gonna give up. The minute it gets stressful, you're just gonna be like, nah, it's not for me. Bye, guys. And I can't do that to them for like anything in the world because they've given so much to me. I need to honor that. Yeah, sure. That's it. That's pretty much Pitch Black. That's it. That's how that got to there. Look, I mean, there's a lot that happened in between as well, but I feel like where I'm at now is more important than where I've been.
Yeah. What does coming from the editing side into production give you a leg up on?
Oh, no one can bullshit me. Like straight up. Like I've done so much in production. Like it's so wonderful to like listen to producers. I suppose, assume you don't know the nitty gritty on the ground stuff, but you can't be bullshitted if you've been on the ground with something and grown into a producer. A lot of producers just, they get out of school and they do production management and jump into producing. So they themselves don't know how. They themselves don't know how shit works. Like I'm telling you, like producers mostly don't know how shit works. It's not an insult to anybody if anybody's offended. That's what I believe.
It's so weird because like so from what I know from the film industry, it's like it's all people who have like worked their way up from the film industry, like from like being a part of various different things. So like it's just weird to hear like that because I just don't know that side of it at all.
Yeah, they are. I mean, like the older producers, I must say, the older producers they all started cable running or fucking assisting on set and then worked their way up. The older ones, hells yeah. The youngins don't know shit. And that's the scary part. And that's the scary part for me because it's just like, career-wise, you should know more than you're saying, But it's also like, I don't know. It's a double-edged sword because, you feel as though people should do the thing they believe they can do. And, you shouldn't judge them for that. Yes. But then if it makes your life incredibly difficult to execute a task because of their lack of knowledge, then it's also like, wow.
But I mean, so if they've got lack of knowledge, that's fine. It's if they've got lack of knowledge and also like attitude about it. I think that's where I would probably.
But the ego is there to mask it most of the time. And I'm just getting into like work bitching.
Anyway, I could just imagine like the cool thing is having someone like you there like is important for the youngins, to actually see someone who has experience in the industry and how they operate within it,
Yeah. So I mean, like everything I'd gone through, I think I wouldn't have done it any other way because I got to do so many different kinds of things. Man, this is Pitch Black, but my whole life, man, I've seen the world. In terms of personal experience, I don't feel shortchanged. Everything worked out exactly as I feel it should be. That I don't feel like something could have worked out a different way. Like I've always had the opportunity to do exactly what I want and exactly what I love. So I'm very content with where I am. I'm always learning. not in a perfect place, but there's nothing behind me that I miss. You know what I mean? Like, there's nothing that I can say that I did where I had to do it because life said I had to do it. I've always done exactly what I wanted. At a cost, obviously, but it was mine.
Yeah.
It was my journey. I can't say anybody else had it.
Yeah, I totally I relate to that so much, man. Like similar vibes, different outcomes at the moment, but similar vibes. I want to quickly ask you some listener questions,
Yeah.
and then I'm
Yeah.
going to ask you. There's a question that I close every episode with now.
No worries. No worries.
So you've already answered one of the questions because I asked earlier. So this is a guy called Simp Slayer, and for the people listening, if you want to ask questions, patreon.com/almost perfect is where you can do that. Anyway. Okay, I already know the answer to this question, but I'm going to ask anyway. What type of music do you like listening to when you're skating?
Oh man, I don't have a favorite genre, bro.
Really?
If you had my no, for real, I don't. My shit's mixed masala, man. So I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. I would of late. I can say what's of late. Like I don't even know albums and artists. I just hear a song and I save it. It's so weird. People tell me this. Yeah. So like, let me see here. I'm trying to find the song. Where is it? Like, I don't know, man. I don't know. Let me say for now, it's Mango Pulp by Edame.
Okay,
That's my favorite track to skate to right now. I'll send it to you.
What's crazy about music these days is there's actually, there's just so much out there that it's like, I'm not going to know what people listen to anymore. It's just like, it's just not possible to stay on touch. Like, I stay on top of like what, it's also what's cool. It's so different for everyone as well. Like you were saying earlier, like, again, like, I do envy the kids these days in that they don't have to grow up like in a scene where they have to like fit these different like molds essentially. You know, you do get to just pick and mix, because I thought you were going to just say hip hop because that's what, you know, you said in your interview 20 years ago. But of course you've grown and changed.
I've grown. Like back then, I think, man, underground hip hop was the one for me. Almost Def 5, Roots Maneuver, all of that kind of stuff when I was then, that made sense. As well as it was like exposure to music, like I was saying, you were either like a punk rocker or a surfer type dude or a hip hop. Like there wasn't.
Yeah, it was Jack Johnson, NoFX, or like.
So you have so much more option now to be whatever you want. So I started growing my taste for music. So I don't have like a genre. What I can do is I can share a link to my playlist, and then that's the favorite music that I have right now.
Right, I'll share that.
Like I'll send you a link. Yeah, I'll send you a link, and then that's my favorite music for right now.
Right, so people want a skating playlist. They can listen to that.
There you go.
Cool. How many pro model boards do you actually have? Was it just the one, or did you make a few?
Two. I had two pro models. The first one was the gold one. That was like a dedication to my brother as well, because he used to have this expression, "Man with the gold gets the girl," something like that, some weird expression. That's why I picked gold, because my brother, he had this real expression. Raymond actually remembers better than I do. And then the second one was like an asachai and a shield and a spear. Just, paying homage to the Zulu-ness of my surname.
Fair enough. Oh yeah, you were mentioning before we chatted, Whan as a nickname comes from somewhere. So what's the story there?
Oh shit. Okay, so I was seeing a lady called Lauren from the States, from Massachusetts. I hope I said that right.
I think so.
And everybody was already calling me kind of like Whan D or whatever. She just started calling me Whan. And because we were out a lot with my friends and stuff, my friends started catching on to it. And then, I don't know, man, like at the time she'd set up my Gmail group. Like I'm so old that I even remember how Gmail started. Like a friend had to invite you to Gmail, and then you had 50 invites. Like, remember that shit? So So
Yo,
she
when
was
you got
sitting
those
on my
invites to give out, you were a king.
Facebook, even you were a fucking VIP. So,
Yeah.
so I got that, and then she set up my email address. But now she, in her mind, thought that it was WHAN. So it was just one. Like because that's how it sounded. Like it sounded like one. It couldn't be Whan. So in her mind, she just spelled my email address, the name is stuck. So it was WHANDILE@gmail. And then everybody just stuck with it. Like everybody was just one. And that was it. That's how I got it. A girlfriend dubbed me one. And then it
I
just
think,
stuck.
I think that's happened to many people.
Yeah. So that's the weird one.
Okay, sweet. And then, the final question that I've been asking everyone lately is, what is a big mistake that you made that you learned something from? You can focus on the mistake or the lesson, or both.
Ooh, the lesson. Always the lesson. Always the lesson. Biggest mistake I ever made.
Doesn't have to be the biggest mistake you ever made. Just a really
The
big
biggest
one.
lesson. A really big lesson was like no man is an island. Like you can't do anything on your own. Like you can have whatever idea you have on your own and whatever you want to do on your own, or whatever you're trying to do on your own. But I didn't turn pro on my own. I didn't skate alone most of the time. Like even editing, I learned from other people. They may have not always been in the room with me or digitally, but the biggest lesson I learned was no man is an island. You can't do anything alone. You can't do it on your own. You need people. That was my biggest lesson.
Even if those people are YouTubers who
Even if they're YouTuber, that's someone else that's giving you information or helping you meditate or showing you how to do yoga. You need people. Like we all need each other. Like we need each other. We need people. I think that's the biggest lesson I ever learned. I was always making the mistake that I can do this all on my own, and like whatever I'm doing is just me and blah 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 blah. And I learned that you need people.
Yeah, I relate to that. Like, because I'm someone who does still do a lot of things on their own in theory, but like I realize that like a lot of what I do can't be done. Like, I'm the one doing the work. Like when it comes to this, but so many people are sharing it. So many people have people have agreed to be on the podcast. So many things happen. Like, there's always going to be another person there, and just all the support it's gotten, everything like that, and just everything that's ever happened, I've done a lot of stuff alone staring at my screen, but there was always someone else that enabled that. So I'm also super aware of that. And like, as much as like I can be misanthropic and, a loner, I'm well aware that nothing I do is possible without the help of other people. Cool. Anyway, bro, I do want to just thank you for giving me your time. As I said, I can't do this alone. So I want to thank you for doing it with me. This has been such a cool chat. And it's like, I love, like, I don't skateboard anywhere near as much as I used to. Like, I do it maybe once a year for the Shove It Day. And then that's about it. But it's been so cool.
You're still doing it.
It's just been cool to like reminisce about those days and actually hear about it from someone who was like super involved in like, the early days of skate culture in South Africa. And it's been wonderful to see that growth and also to find out, how you've evolved and find out what you've been up to. So this has been super fucking cool, bro. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, man. Thank you. I feel like I just had therapy. Thanks so much, Bob. I really appreciate it, man. Good luck with the podcast. If you need anything, holla.
So that was Whan. Yeah, that was a great chat. Someone who I got in touch with because I've been going through my old Blunt magazines because I'm always writing something, as I'm sure you know. You might never get to read half this shit. But yeah, I'm working on a thing and I'm trying to get some period accurate things going on in terms of names of bands and stuff that was going on around the time. So yeah, I've been going through my old Blunt magazines and I saw Whan on the cover of one of them and was like, I wonder what he's doing these days. And yeah, found him on the internet. Had a little bit of help actually, because I was looking for Whan Zulu, which is his actual name without the H in it and everything, as he explained just now how he got the H. in his name. So it was a little bit of a mission, but thankfully, Whan knows people that I know, and was able to find him and get in touch and have this wonderful chat. It really was cool just getting to reminisce over, like, I spent so much of my life skateboarding and never got any good at it. Never got above being able to like ollie onto pavements and sometimes land kickflips. But I'm cool with that, man, because it's not always about being the best. Sometimes it's just about having a little bit of fun while you kick, push, and coast. Yeah, man. It's been a bit of time, but since I last chatted to you, about 2 or 3 weeks now. Apologies about that, but I have been trying to get my life in order. And big news, your boy is in the land of the gainfully employed. I am no longer living that freelance life after like a decade of freelance life. But yeah, I no longer have to search for clients and chase payments and fucking all those things. Because I'll be honest with you, during the pandemic and the last while, like, things have actually been fucking hard. I think some of you know that. I think I've been pretty honest about that. But yeah, just a large portion of my income used to be supplemented by the fact that I put on events and did live gigs and had various other things going on. You know, like I always had like 70 different streams of income. And the pandemic whittled that the fuck down to none, pretty much. And I've been selling a lot of shit. Like, I've got a magic collection that's, you know, I've been thankful for in this time. But yeah, now I get to start saving. I also had some savings, I had investments. I had a lot of that different shit because, you know, you got to plan for a rainy day. And, yo, it's been raining. I don't know if you noticed, there's been fucking floods. And yeah, my rainy day funds were getting fucking low. And yeah, now they get to go up again. Because I have a job. What is that job? I can't fucking tell you. Because I signed an NDA. And I wouldn't want to anyway. Because fucking cancel fingers are quick on the internet. And I'm not letting you all know who I work for. You're not getting me like that. So yeah, just know I've got a job. The hours are good. The pay is in dollars. And it will allow me to do this and do more of this. Because, yeah, being able to stress a little less about how I'm, you know, going to feed myself and cover rent and shit like that is definitely more conducive to creative output. Maybe one day I'll have a podcasting empire and this shit will be my job. But for now, it's just a side hustle, I guess, as they say. Oh, man. Yeah, it's been interesting. Durban's been going through fucking floods and it's been chaotic. And there was me and Paige going to Joburg for Easter weekend to visit my family, but also because Paige had an exhibition at Rand Merchant Place. It's with First Rand, was curated by Mana Stratum, and had like Roger Balin and people like that on as well. So we went there and it was fucking cool to actually see like Paige's work up in a proper gallery space with big names and everyone digging the work and just, yeah, getting to see her do her thing, in her scene. Although it's also kind of my scene. I guess I'm part of the whole creative scene. But you know what I mean, I think. And yeah, we had a pretty good week. We went to Leah Jazz, who you know from 5FM, but also maybe from this podcast. We went to her birthday party and had a good time until I got a bit too drunk and acted like a bit of an asshole. But yeah, that's why I've been trying to. I think I'm just gonna quit drinking with other people. I'll still drink alone at home, but then at least I don't have to worry about like saying or doing any embarrassing shit. Like you never wake up like when you've been drinking alone and go, what did I say last night that is going to like ruin my entire life? Doesn't happen that often. Doesn't happen that often. I don't know, man. I really am just like getting over my relationship with alcohol, because it fucks you up. And because of this pandemic and shit, I haven't been partying the way I used to party. So, you know, you come in and you come in hot and you crash and you fucking burn because you're not combat trained. You are not race ready. You know, you're not fighting fit, as they say. And so, I don't know, just in general, it's weird, man. Alcohol as a social lubricant is a fucking issue because, like, even, you know, thinking about the whole thing of, yo, let me go out and not drink. It really is just way harder when everyone around you is drinking. Like, I respect, like, my friends who, you know, are in recovery and still come out and still hang out with us assholes, even though, you know, we're drinking beers and stuff. But it's also probably why they leave early. So, who knows? Maybe I might become one of those people who leaves early. Or I'm going to be one of those people who is screaming in the streets of Joburg at like 3 o'clock in the morning repeatedly. For now, it's just a one-time thing, but regrettable and not who I want to be going forward, man. Definitely. But anyway, that's probably shit I should discuss with my therapist that I'm going to get now that I have income again. Anyway, that does bring us to the end of the podcast. It does bring us to the shout out section because there is a tier over at patreon.com/almost perfect called the titular titles tier, which is a $10 tier. And on that tier, you get to pick your title on this podcast. Now, personally, I would recommend you give your money to Gift of the Givers at the moment, as they're doing a lot of good work here in KZN. But yeah, if you've got a little extra left over, feel free to go to patreon.com/almost perfect, and maybe you can add your name to this list, or you can be one of the $1 and $5 patrons who gets asked questions, and there are various other perks, I guess you could say, that you could look forward to over there. But your shout outs to our Far East correspondent Russell Grant. Shout outs to our key grip Neil Green. Shout outs to our almost perfect hedge fund manager Karan Slemon. Shout outs to Vishendra Naidu, our spiritual advisor. Shout outs to Julian, who is our king. Shout outs to our director of purchasing Riz Ventura. Shout outs to our assistant to the regional manager Karan Chetty. Still looking for the regional manager. Just send your applications to bob@almostperfect.co.za, I guess. Shout outs to Kath Jenkin, the inevitable ruler of the universe, and Queen Swifty. Shout outs to Rousseau, who unfortunately had to demote. He is now the storage clerk of subtle heresies in the Lesser Overberg region. Hopefully he can work his way back up to the Greater Overberg region as time goes on. Yes, shout outs to our executive producer Stephen Olivier, and shout outs to our benefactor who is anonymous. Of course, shout outs to you for listening all the way through to the end and for spending this time with me. And I will catch you on the flip side.